Hey everybody, how's everybody doing out there? I hope everybody saw my last video on the Xbox, and thanks for the information from everybody out there. Much appreciated. And I would like to go over the settings for everybody on 4K content. Now, this is not HDR content. This is your normal content you would see on like YouTube, Netflix, what have you. And I've got a lot of requests for it, so I'd like to go over it with you guys. And we'll stop the video here in just a second, and we'll continue on with the settings. Okay, there we go. And the first thing you want to do is you want to go to your settings, of course. And in watching TV is the first thing I always go to, especially if you got a new TV set up, and you want to go all the way down to HDMI signal format. Once you go to HDMI signal format, you want to go into that and go into enhanced format, and make sure everything is in enhanced format instead of the standard. There's standard and enhanced, and pretty self-explanatory. HDMI 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now with the newer Sony TVs, you'll get all of the HDMI 1, 2, and 3, and 4 on enhanced formats. But you have the older one like the A8G or the 930E, you'll only get 2. That was one of the complaints they did before with the for the TV set. HDMI 2 and 3 were the only ones you would get for the older TV sets. So that's a plus for the newer TV sets that I haven't mentioned. Also, that does apply to the 900F. Also, you only get 2 HDMI enhanced format settings there, which kind of is a bummer, especially if you have multiple things you would like to hook up. Go into display, picture, and I do everything in custom, guys. I don't mess around. I do custom only. Custom is the closest thing on the newer Sony TV sets that you're going to get to the actual creator's content. So even better than the cinema. So you go to custom. So basically custom is like the old Sony TV sets, the Cinema Pro. They don't call it Cinema Pro anymore. They call it custom. So some people say, oh, they left out the Cinema Pro. No, they didn't. They just used custom instead. That's the most accurate setting. Brightness 35, contrast 90, gamma 0, black level 48. Black adjust is low, medium, or high, depending on what content you're watching. If you're watching something that is dark and it's a Batman scene or something of that nature, you're going to want to put the black adjust on high. And you even want to mess with maybe the gamma a little bit to make sure you don't have it blooming in any of the black bars, like some of the people complain with the 65 and the 65 and the 55 inch TV sets. And I will say, after messing with the TV for almost a month now, that there is a difference between the 75 inch Sonys, the Z9F, and the 950G versus the 65 and the 55 inch model. It seems like the black level is a lot darker and it's more uniform on the screen. So these settings will work on your 65 as well. And the 65 is an excellent set, but for some reason it just seems like they put a little bit more oomph on the 75 inch screens on all the Sonys, which is no surprise because they did the same with the Z9D. The Z9D first came out at $10,000 for the 75 inch, and it was $6,000 for the 65 inch. I had the 65 inch, and it seemed like the 75 inch had just a little bit better motion and just, you know, the overall picture quality. And a lot of people out there that have the Z9D, they know exactly what I'm talking about. So for some reason, I think Sony just puts their best foot forward on the 75 inch screens. I have no idea why. You could call them and ask them maybe. We already did the color. 57, hue, expert 1. Live colors off. Don't put that on. You don't need that on unless you just want ridiculous looking popping pictures, but you will not get accurate colors. You want to go to the clarity, sharpness 50, manual creation manual, resolution I like at 35. I don't like my noise on at all unless the picture is really jacked up, and usually most 4K is pretty pristine, so you don't need these on unless you have a bad cable internet connection or something like that and you're watching apps, or you have it on another 4K source that's kind of blurry and fuzzy. Now my smoothness I use for the applications is 2, and I'll turn this down to 1 if this is like a 4K disc with pretty pristine motion. So I'll put that on 1 usually. We'll leave it on 2 now for this particular cut. I think it looks best on 2 for this particular video. And everything else I put in the auto: HDR mode auto, HDMI video range auto, and color space auto. Once again, these are my settings just for 4K watching without the HDR. And all these settings work pretty much across the board for cable watching as well. And just play a little bit of the video here.